guys, and welcome back. Today we are going to be talking about the murder of Holly and Diane Fallon. I just want to put a wee trigger warning because this case does talk about sexual assault and also involves the murder of a child. So if that's something that you're not interested in, you don't want to, you can't hear right now, then just click off and I'll see you next time with something else. So after that, we're just going to get into it. Again, I will be removing my makeup because it makes me feel a bit less awkward when talking about such sensitive subjects. And I did have a lot of notes for this case, so if you do see me pausing and looking, I'll probably edit it out. But if I can't edit it out, then I do apologise. So, this is the case of Holly and Diane Fallon. Holly Fallon was aged 10 and Diane Fallon, her mother, was 43. Holly and Diane lived at Riverside Gardens in a small village called Cronbury in East Ayrshire in Scotland. And this is actually really close to where I know a lot of people who are going to be watching this video is really close to home, which is why I wanted to cover it. So, Holly was described as being a nice, kind, friendly girl who was always smiling, and she loved school and was doing well in school as well. Diane was described as a lovely woman who would have done a favour for anybody. So, Thomas Smith, who was 26 at the time, moved in to Riverside Gardens in March 2008, roundabout. He befriended Diane and Holly when he moved in to Riverside Gardens because it's like a 4 in a block, and if you don't know what a 4 in a block is, it's kind of like, so there's two houses on the top, it's like flats sort of, or apartments if you're American. Me thinking that my channel's reaching America. So it's like two houses on the top, two houses on the bottom. So he moved in downstairs for Diane and Holly. He was an ex-private in the Royal Logistic Corps in the army, and he was also previously convicted for sexual assault. So he moved in to Riverside Gardens around March 2008, and he was previously private in the army for the Royal Logistic Corps. Thomas had a very sketchy past. Extremely, like, we're going to dive right in. So, he had previously sexually assaulted a 10-year-old in Teesside, England in 2005. However, he wasn't convicted until 2006. He denies this, which we will get into later in the video. I'll explain what he says happens versus what is said to have happened. He was previously violent in relationships, and he also had anger issues, but the GP put that down to combat stress from being in the army. So, May 4th, 2006, Thomas was convicted at Teesside Court and released on bail pending his sentence for sexual assault on this 10-year-old girl. At the time, he was living with his girlfriend, like the girlfriend at the time, and she had 3 kids, and she was also pregnant with his child. Now, I don't know if names of these people are out there. I didn't see any, but even if I did, I wouldn't be including any names of relationships that he was in because these people don't need that kind of publicity. They don't obviously want people being like, oh, you went with this guy. So that's just in case you're wondering why that I haven't put any names in. So on the 6th of June, he reappeared at Teesside Court, and he was sentenced to 6 months in prison at Her Majesty's Prison Home House. In 2006, Scottish Child Protection meeting was held before Thomas Smith was released from prison, and in this meeting they decided that Thomas was not allowed to live with his girlfriend, the 3 kids and the unborn baby, and they dropped my cotton pad, and that also there should be no unsupervised visits with the children. Thomas. This relationship with this girlfriend ended in December 2006, and also around this time Thomas was contacted by the criminal justice social work and offered help with his anger issues, which he declined. So from 2006 to 2008, which this is a bit weird because he gets into another relationship, but so quickly, like if he ended the relationship in December, did you just go like boom straight into another relationship or what? So anyway, I digress. In 2006 to 2008, he was with another woman. Now this woman knew about his conviction. Well, sort of. She knew he was convicted, but he had told her a different version of events. So what I could find of what happened was Thomas had been out driving around and he seen this 10-year-old girl. I don't really know much about what was going on that day. He seen this 10-year-old girl, he stopped in his car, he went out and the sexual assault happened. But what he said was he was driving and that this young girl got something, like she was like, so he was driving and the girl was just walking down the street or whatever, and that she flung something, I believe it was an egg, but don't quote me on that, at the car. So he got out the car and he went up to her and he started shouting at her, and he claims, I think he grabbed her, and that's why he was sent to jail, which, I mean, come on. Anyway, so she believed his version of events. You need to think, obviously, this guy might have been quite manipulative, we don't know, you know what I mean? Thomas was very abusive and controlling to this lady, and he even locked her in when he wasn't in the house. So, I mean, and I don't want to see any comments. I mean, I'm sure you guys will be respectful, but just in case, I don't want to see any comments of why didn't you just leave? He was locking you in the house when he wasn't in. We don't know, okay? We're not in that relationship. We don't know how badly he was in her head. Okay. He also cut her off for her family and friends, so she had no contact with them. So could you imagine, she must have been feeling very isolated. In 2008, Smith started another relationship with a woman from Kilmarnock, and she had 3 kids. She also described his anger issues and she knew of his conviction, but she also believed his version of events. The Kilmarnock woman, unlike this other lady who he used to lock in his house, she actually met Diane and Holly. So she did when she was at Thomas's house. Police found that the relationships between these 2 women actually clashed, which means that he was obviously cheating on both of them with the other. They knew this due to a driving offence that he'd got for speeding, and he had to appear at court, and the Kilmarnock lady was with him at the court when he had to appear. So that's how the police knew that the relationships crossed over in time. So March 2008, Thomas moves in to Riverside Gardens. Now, previously being convicted of sexual assault and being placed on the sex offenders register, the police obviously should have checked this area and carried out certain checks to make sure it was okay for him to go here, which was not done. In an independent report after this case happened, it was discovered that there was a lot of badly handled paperwork on behalf of multiple agencies, and things that should have been written down and done were not, which is just shows you how important it is, because two people have lost their life because of this. Do you know what I mean? So Diane literally had no idea that Thomas was a sex offender. I don't think anybody in Cromebury had any idea that he was a sex offender, and he was just here living in this tiny village where there are kids one right up the stairs from him. You know what I mean? It makes me really, really angry. The conditions of being on a sex offenders register are that you have to be visited by the police and get like phone calls and stuff. So like I'm guessing it's just like random. They show up, you've got to like answer the door and stuff like that, or answer your phone. And you also have to attend the police station every so often to like go through things with the police and meet your like annual requirements kind of thing with the police. So on August 2008, the police had failed 4 times. So they went out to his house 4 times and failed to either have him answer the door, I guess, and they also tried phoning him these times and they couldn't get through. Thomas eventually called the police on August the 21st, and he did attend the police station for his annual notification requirements. On October the 15th, 2008, a further failed visit to his house and failed phone call resulted in the police leaving a letter of warning to Thomas, basically saying, well, we can't trace you, so where are you? You need to get in touch with us. On October 16th, they phoned Thomas's dad and they asked him if they could ask Thomas to phone them and get in touch. This was on the 16th, and Thomas's dad had said that he wasn't working anymore due to losing his license. So I don't know if that was like well, he should be in because he's not working anymore. Not entirely sure, but I did come across that and I thought I'll put it in because it seems like then the police knew that he wasn't working anymore due to his driving offence. So police had no contact with Thomas until the 21st of October when he did arrange like a date for the police to come out to his house. So in this independent report that I was talking about earlier that was done to see how this happened, if it could have been prevented, after 5 failed home visits, police should have gone into Cronebury dressed in plain clothing and spoke to at least 3 neighbours to ask about Smith, to ask what kind of person he is, to ask what he's like. Is he like a partier? Is he like a big, I don't know, like into drugs, anything like that? There is loads of reasons that they could have said that they were there, the neighbours, to find out why they can't, like if the neighbours know anything about him and why they can't keep track of him. So on March 2009, Diane and Holly had attended a village fete, like a gala day, I guess, for a Scottish people. That day, Diane had exchanged texts with Thomas, and he was celebrating his birthday that day. And they decided that that night they were going to play pool on Thomas's pool table. So they done that and they went down, and this is so heartbreaking. Okay, like it's really sad. So they found Holly's diary, and that night Holly had written in her diary, "Dear diary, I am in Tom's. My mum and he are playing snooker. I want to play. I hope I can. Love you. Bye." Which, when I read that, that was just so sad. She had no idea what was coming. So that night, for reasons unknown, Thomas launched a brutal attack on Diane and Holly. Both of them were horribly attacked, and he used a PlayStation cable to strangle them and to tie them up, and he raped them. There are fears that Thomas murdered Diane first and that Holly had to watch. And then after the fact, he just disposed of them. Like they were absolute trash, like they were nothing. Police were alerted when Holly didn't show up for school, and the case was treated as missing persons, despite the fact that they found all their personal belongings in the house. Which just, I mean, how do you think somebody's run away when they leave all their possessions? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't understand. Me personally, and I mean, I'm not a police officer, obviously, but I would be like, well, how are we going to say that they've run away when all their stuff's here? But anyway, April 8th, 2009, Smith confessed to his dad that he accidentally killed the both of them. And this motherfucker didn't even have the decency to tell the truth. He said that Diane came at him with a knife. Which, why? Why would she do that? Do you know what I mean? His father told him to leave his house, which obviously I think I would be the same as well. You want to love your kids, yes, I understand, but my kids came to me like, oh, I killed these people who have been on the news, I'd be like, get out. So he told him to leave his house and told him to hand himself into the police, and then his father then contacted the police. Smith told the police where the bodies were, and Holly's body was found under a bridge just outside of Lugar, which is another small village. I think it's maybe about a 5-10 minute drive to Cronbury. I think it's actually about 5 minutes, even that. And she was underneath a bridge, and she was well, I'll get into it in a little second. Diane was also found near Cronbury, 4 miles away from her home in undergrowth underneath Reagan's. So Holly's semi-naked remains were found under this bridge in Lugar, and they were covered with dozens of rocks. She was wearing new pyjama trousers. She had new pyjama trousers, sort of on, that she'd got that day as a present, the day that she died, and they were tied around her right ankle, and her face was covered with a jacket. Holly had head injuries and significant internal injuries from the sexual attack, and Smith's DNA was also found on Holly's body. Diane was found to have a fractured skull, and she had a broken pelvis and ribs, multiple fractures to the throat. She also found to have sustained injuries consistent with forcible sexual assault prior to her death, and Diane's hands had also been tied behind her back. So this, I can't even imagine how those poor people felt having to go through this, thinking that this kind neighbour was thought to be just done this for no reason at all. He's never given a reason why he done it. So Smith was sentenced on the 5th of February 2010 at Glasgow High Court, and he was sentenced to life in jail with a minimum of 32 years. And he did try to appeal this, but it was denied. Holly and Diane's family said that they felt that justice had been served, but just obviously expressed their anger that the police had failed to do the proper checks and that they weren't really keeping up on him when they were missing home visits. I mean, I just don't understand why this was handled so badly. And then it took the police 9 months, I think it was, after Thomas Smith was sentenced to actually apologise to the family. 9 months, which is absolutely disgusting. They should have apologised to that family straight away, because this is not on. The reason that people are put on the sex offenders register and have to be in contact with the police is to keep children safe. Anybody safe, but mostly children. You know what I mean? this case really does make me mad because two beautiful souls lost their lives, and it was because the police were negligent. Paperwork was fudged by many agencies, and it just makes me really scared having kids myself, like that there's not doing these proper checks, which are so important. They're there for a reason. Um, but yes, let me know what you think of this case, if you remember it. I do remember it myself on the news. Um, and if there is any cases that you would like to see me cover, then please let me know. Thanks very much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.